All right, another afternoon in Shanghai. We've got the sun on our backs, Shy Bay, like the elderly of Shanghai do, just like a turtle.
Yeah.
But what are we here to talk about today, Phoebe?
Yeah, we're actually.
Speaking of putting sun on your back like a turtle,
Yeah, I was actually about to. It's actually a good start. So we're talking about the oddities. I think it's where you
oddity,
yeah
oddity, oddity,
oddities. Yeah,
miscellaneous oddity.
yeah. But yeah, also just to quickly give our audience like a quick introduction about the oddities we're going to talk today. It's about the it's more about the things happens in everyday life. Probably not here, but obviously today we probably will bring in more cases what here happens in here a
Okay.
lot. But yeah, it's about some of the maybe you can say the weird activities or habits, like something like from your cultural context will be perceived as somehow might be perceived as rude or just make no sense at all. Yeah, we'll probably dive into more about this,
Let's do it. Let's dive more
and
into it.
also want to share like how these oddities might just help your to help foster our cross cultural skills.
Great. Continue.
Okay, so I would say so so this oddities. So right now like the first hour I would say like it's probably like like first need to a little bit define all these oddities. So and we also will use some great examples which literally just we counted before. So I would say like first speaking of the oddity, I would say I would introduce something probably help to understand would be the unconventional activities.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the place we're at right now, Fuxing Park, it is a I would say it's a it is a place where you can gather the miscellaneous of oddities.
Yeah.
According to Max,
Yeah,
I
for
would say
sure.
that, yeah, he's. I think you're the
What
first
is
one.
this guy doing to the left of me right now? What is this guy
Yes.
doing? What is he doing? I can't look at him. Can you describe to the audience what this guy's doing
So
next to me? I
right
see his
now, like
shadows like
yeah,
bouncing
it's right now
around.
like I think our audience can see it clear. So I will give some
Please,
briefing.
yes.
So on the right side of Max, there is like a uncle where like I think long sleeves with like I would say the sports short pants,
Yeah, and then he
shorts
just
and
spent like a half hour cleaning off the leaves in front around him,
yeah,
right?
and he started to jogging and
In
just
place.
in place. Yeah,
He's just jogging in place right now.
I feel it's actually pretty. To me, it's actually pretty normal workout activity, especially for those middle-aged uncles. I would
Yeah.
say,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but still, the also like the I feel like to other of the people might be feel weird about why they choose to pick some place and clean off the leaves and somewhere near the
I
trees.
feel a little weird about it, but I think we have better examples. So I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. Let's
yeah.
go into our better examples. I'm just looking around right now because I'm sure there's some miscellaneous oddity going on. But go ahead. What did you want to tell everyone about today?
I feel like there is a lot of examples, a lot of oddities. And apparently oddity is one of our goal
Yes,
while we're pursuing deeper culture
I think it's one of
immersion
our
journeys.
personal goals. I don't know if it's a general goal, but I think seeking oddity should be everyone's
Yes,
goal.
also like speaking of
Personally,
that, so before we're yeah before we're bringing more this some examples show what that exactly are the oddity we're pursuing, but also like we can also talk a little bit about the goal, why we want to pursue these oddities. I feel like Max can. I think you know more about this because you're the one who lead me to take just start on this path.
I mean, I think once you get to the point where you're super comfortable with just all the weirdness that you find around you, you want to keep going deeper for it and keep looking for it. And I also think it's a great glimpse into the local culture because if there are things that, again, from your perspective is oddity, you think it's kind of weird. Well, by the nature of it being something that, I mean, there's weird people everywhere that do odd things, so it might not be normal even for that local context, but it's probably something that's normal there. And if it piques your interest, if it intrigues you, that is just a thread to pull. You can go ask them what they're doing or ask other people, hey, what is that going on over there? And at least in Shanghai, the parks are full of oddities. So I do spend an ample amount of time here just checking out what's going on.
Okay, but also like, so you are can I just interpret it as like oddity is also like a good way to lead you to like a deeper local culture
Yes,
setting?
yes. I think also the time we had at Qingdao
Oh,
is a
sure.
perfect example of that because I think that's the trip that we took right after we kind of realized that what we want to document with those videos is the oddity specifically. And so I think we've told the story before, but for those who have not heard, we spent a week in Qingdao, which is the capital of Shandong province, up north a little bit. And you found on the Chinese Instagram that there is a group of uncles called the Chocolate Uncles. They are dark skinned uncles that like to sunbathe in the sun all day and then do other miscellaneous activities. So we knew that we wanted to go hang with them because that is, I think that qualifies as general miscellaneous oddity. And so we ended up going to hang out with them, and basically I just asked them, how do I become a chocolate uncle? Ended up basically getting in my underwear on the beach with them, hanging out, and that just started a full week of joining them for all these different activities. So we went octopus fishing with them, we went to dinner with them. They had like a diving competition, a friendly diving exhibition competition.
Even if there's a sign clear, so like no diving, no swimming.
They don't care.
Okay.
So I think again that's just to relate to this idea that it's a thread to pull, right? If it sparks your interest, if it intrigues you, then you should go check it out and ask more about it and learn more about it. And again, I think maybe this is later in the journey where you want to purposefully seek out oddity because when you first arrive somewhere, everything is kind of weird and different. But you'll start to get a feel for what are the things that exist across all cultures and what are the things that are definitely a specialty of wherever you find yourself. So, yeah, miscellaneous oddity, I'm always on the hunt for it, and that is a big reason as to why.
But also that I feel like probably we could combine it together. So while we're bringing more cases, also like through this process, we can also like okay, I think we're gonna talk deeper about the uh, the criteria of the oddity because obviously when we're pursuing this oddity, we're not saying oh we just want to maybe there are some people it's just insane or it's like just doing just whatever crazy
Yeah, there's
stuff.
definitely like
There is
mentally ill, insane, crazy people everywhere.
yeah.
So don't think that anything out of the ordinary is a thread you should pull.
Yes, that is I think we have to stress out, and also like, actually, like, also speaking of the Qingdao thing, so there also something I want to share because it's actually one thing normally we would deal. So even if sometimes we just it just like the
Spontaneity.
spontaneity to lead us to these oddities, but still like before every trip or something we do the research of all these oddities
Yes.
so also I feel like there is certain kind of criteria about this oddity in this cross-cultural experience context. Also I feel like doing this pre-research will help you not only just because we obviously like we always stress out like about is safety first. So
Safety is important for sure.
yeah. So why are you pursuing this oddity, especially for the goal of for like a safe and enjoy for I won't say enjoyable, but the safe cultural immersion things? I would suggest you do the pre-research, and also it will give you the whole picture about what.
But what if they're unable to do pre-research, Hoei? For example, a lot of this information might be in the language of the host culture, and they might not be able to do
Yeah,
proper
correct.
research.
So that in that case, still like I think the observation will still work. So before you want to like get involved in this, but that will be thing we're going to talk in the later session. So first we just want to share like what are the criteria of the oddities it might be appropriate for you, especially for you want to
I
like
mean,
do.
oddity by nature, there's no criteria. I don't know. I
Yes,
just feel like
it is actually no
right.
criteria.
It's just what is like the unusual thing that you see that sparks your interest, right? And I think the whole point is that it sparks your interest. Because when you are intrinsically interested in something, it's easier to start to learn about it more. And then from that, you're going to learn more about this host culture that you find yourself in as a whole. And so that's what it's about. It's not does it hit these different criteria. It's am I interested in it? Is it a unique function of this culture?
Right now, the criteria is probably like from us. The only thing I want to stress is safety. That's the only
Safety's
thing. Yeah, yeah,
important. Well,
yeah,
there's probably
safety.
some oddity happening behind us right now. Let's take a quick look here. Um,
Oh,
oh,
your right
the
side.
uncle
Yeah.
has made it. Yes, the uncle. This so the guy who's out over my, that is my. This is my right shoulder. I'm not sure if it's coming up reverse or not on the camera. Over my right shoulder, um, that is the uncle that was standing next to me. And so I don't think that's particularly odd. It's definitely not super normal, but he is barefoot doing some running in place there. What else do we got?
You got like people call up like interview some kind of people there. Oh no, they might come along to us right now.
What
Hopefully
about
not.
hopefully not. We're filming something
Yeah, but I
ourselves.
don't know if they're from TV or something. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway,
Regardless,
yeah.
how about maybe I think it's not super odd. Cosplay's huge
I
in
would say
Shanghai.
like that's also the example. So like the Ali, though the perception of the Ali will be actually it is different based on different culture contexts. Because
Yes,
cosplay to you probably a little bit like super like
it exists, but it's yeah.
but here like to us like because I mean it definitely is not like a normal activity for us. But in Japan like I was like in Asia area like cosplay would be seen as a pretty I would say like a teenagers activities, you know. It's something like I would say at the same level as like I think you some people is the fan of like you know how to say like the pop up show like people just gather together wear the same clothes and do this things like on the public area probably will be that kind of things as we perceived here. So yeah, cosplay, but yeah, to you probably will be
Or what
super
about
awesome.
the aunties dressing up to take their pictures? The uncles all have their just kind of like what was that dude doing earlier when he was holding the stick like this? The stick balancing stuff. It's just the like the hobbies of the elderly in Shanghai I think qualify for oddity.
Oh, for sure. And also, like, speaking of this, I actually have something to share. So before,
Please do.
because in Shanghai, I mean, obviously, like, for me, like those auntie, like you saw, like auntie, like just dance and wear the clothes. To me, it's like I've seen it every day, and to me, like I still like it, it, though it's kind of normal to me. I would say familiar to me, but I would still think it is pretty to me it is it's very I'm very confused about that. But later, like when uh when I grow older, I start to want to wonder why. I want to know the reason behind all this behavior. There must something, and also there's one thing like I was pretty shocked because so those people are not insane. All the activities, like whether it's their dancing group or the I would say the modeling group in the park, they're pretty well organized. Those uncle and aunties are well educated. They are not insane. They are pretty passionate about the life itself. So it's actually very remarkable. And so I was pretty intimidated because I feel like they might be mad at us about I'm being curious about that. I might ask some stupid questions. So I asked mom for help, and I thought they are at the same age, probably easy to initiate the conversation. So I just asked them. So why did so why 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 do we want to start these kind of activities? So what's the fun in that? And they're like, oh, and actually they're pretty nice, and they just explained to me why they are so passionate about this. I was a pretty weird clothes, like look like something like in the back at the time of the Soviet Union or some stuff. So that at that time, like they are like so like they are all their obsession with this kind of clothes derived from because at that time they have limited foreign like their I would say their
Exposure.
exposure, yeah, and also their especially the films and all the visual image give them a huge impact about how they view think it's fashion or like super or something they perceive as a beauty. So so now like it makes sense when you see a lot of uncle they're so obsessed with this kind of like the old Russian time style of coat, and the aunt here obsessed with the French beret, like the hat I have right now. It all have reason for that. So the
Right. So that's a perfect example, right? So that all starts from you inquiring, being like, "That's a little curious.
yeah,
That's a little weird. What's that all about?" And you
yeah,
ask them, and now you get this whole backstory, and now you have a
exactly.
fuller picture of what the influences of
Yeah,
dress or activities might be and why.
and
So that's
also
kind of the
yeah.
whole point, right?
So yeah, so they also like when I was younger, actually people are not that. I would say like they don't have that empathy for those people. So a lot of young people are pretty. I would say they're pretty against their behavior. What they view them as like a rude and just unacceptable behavior. I think they're insane. They are just people retire and have lot of time, a lot of money, don't know like where to spend at all. So at the time there is a huge gap between between the young generation and the old generation. And these I feel like people are generally more open and also like actually young people are starting to want to engage in this kind of oddities. They view this as a like creative
Right, like I think
activities.
when we went to some of that, I think when we were in that tea house in Guangdong, which
Yeah,
was like not necessarily a place that's on the tourist list, like there were a couple of tables of younger people who I think were there just because they think it's weird, and it was pretty
yeah,
funny and entertaining to go
yeah,
experience and be involved with.
exactly. Then I think it's also it's a good point for us to want to like uh, so bring into the concept as we actually bring up before the mindsets. I think so. The change why like the gap between the young generation and the old generation like I think being shortened it is the mindset. So right now the young generation have like more open and also like they have I think they generally have more empathy and also have more curiosity I would say about these oddities. They view these oddities as opportunities, which will lead them to a more creative lifestyle as something I learned from my peers. They generally are. There is some young people. If you can search online, there is some special community for young people. It's where they are hunt for these oddities.
Why are we not a part of that? Why have we not joined that?
I can join later, but
Sure.
yeah, we are already teamed up to go hunt for these oddities itself. But yeah, it's also I would say it is. So the reason behind all this behavior, I think it's because it leads by this open mindset. I think this it is something also pretty critical in foster the cross cultural skills, as you would say.
Yeah, I mean by the nature of it, like the variety
Yeah.
of experiences you have and the variety of knowledge that you have, you then just become generally more well-rounded or more understanding of differences. So that's why when you do have this experience or you do have a moment which you are intrigued by something that you think is weird or odd, then you should again pull on that thread and go learn more about it because it's just going to kind of widen your horizons in that way. And if we're talking
Exactly.
about developing the specific cultural knowledge of where you are, with that story you gave about the dress and it's the Russian influence or the French influence,
Yes.
it gives you more of a background of what are some of the influences on the people in the place that you find yourself, because it's not all simple and there is not a textbook for any of this, right? And it's not
Yes.
possible to understand fully everything about this culture. And it's funny because you know you might have learned this, and this has happened to me obviously with other contexts, but okay, so you learn this, you have this knowledge, you're sitting down in a park one day and you're talking to like an elderly Shanghainese person, and he's like, they're here all the time, I don't know why they dress like that. And you could be like, actually, this is why they dress like it. And you as the foreigner, you're introducing it to the local person. Oh, this is why they do it. Those, that's always a fun moment as well. Is just if you
Yeah.
can have that wide variety of knowledge, it can also lead to interactions later on like that.
Exactly, and also I think like trace down all the reason behind all the behavior itself. The process itself also like will equip you more, the more cultural knowledge. Especially I would say it's actually because it's funnier than those have in the textbook. So I would say yes. So the every artist itself behind that it's not only the reason, but also it is a lot of the I would say the interesting uh, cultural knowledge and history behind that. Actually, I would say that the oddities also, I think it's also perfectly reflect how, because actually it is just so the thing make it so odd or like unconventional because it is a mixture of how people just combine their like local behavior like habits to adapt to their the, the modern society. So and also because every society have different shape and also the technology make their forms so diverse. So which when we see that in different cultural contexts, will where I mean it will be very natural to view this as an oddity because it just nothing like the thing you will have in your own place.
Sorry, I was getting distracted by this group who's
Yeah,
kind of
so
like yelling at each other. It looks like they're yelling from the outside, but and there's also it's the weekend, so the talking groups of the uncles are over there. So they'll get in these like almost like debates with a crowd,
yeah,
and it'll be very exaggerated and over the top. And again, I think this is a part of the oddity. So to me, it's
yeah,
kind of and so basically what they're doing is like they have these debates with a crowd around them almost, and it can get sometimes it can get very heated. And sometimes you're just like what's that all about? And when I walk around with you and we think about it and reflect on it, we're like, it's less about actually arguing about what they're arguing about, and it's more about this opportunity for social connection.
exactly.
So that's some of these are the insights. So you see this thing, you see this behavior, that's kind of weird, and then you look deeper and try to find the reason for it. Then it just tells you something more about it, and it's specifically with that generation because they grew up under a very strong ideology about the importance of community and getting together and these social
Exactly.
connections. And so that's why that still lives on today. And that's so you're going from these uncles arguing with a crowd around them, that's kind of weird, to then going a little deeper and understanding what is the reason behind that.
And also, like speaking of that, so I think that that kind of thing, maybe it just something I think it's also maybe just my assumption or something. So back to that old generation. So I would say a lot of them are used to work in the factory. So the way they communicate, they have to raise their voice really loud, and the way they communicate, all like comfort each other, you have to use a really passionate voice and in a certain kind of volume, so that your friends will understand what you're trying to express. While in your like the few, so only few of those generation are work as the people who stay in the office.
Like a white collar.
Yeah, which don't require that amount of the volume
Sure.
to so that I think makes sense. Also, I feel like it's also like you see how those old people can like super well organized. They really stick to each other. No one's gonna leave behind. They really help each other. No complaint about someone lagging behind or being sloppy or something. They really, I would say it's not like a group, but more like a community. So I also asked them why, and a lot of them they say, "Oh, that's for sure. You got to help each other." And also like a lot of them, they once work in the same factory or they just live in the same neighborhood. That's also kind of the things we can learn from them. So I feel like so again speaking of the mindset, I feel like if so before like when I was younger, I'm pretty good against all the things. I feel like I don't want to be like them. Obviously, you don't need to be like them. So I say I want to cut off all the things. I don't want to care about why they dance
Well, you
in the
also
park.
used to say before I got here, you would walk through this park like to go to school or to go to work
Yeah,
every day.
yeah,
And you would see all of this but not really think anything of it. And you might just have your headphones in and walked past it and never really like thought about it. And then
yeah.
you and I was like, no, let's just go sit in the park and hang out and talk.
I was shocked. I was like, a lot of time when yes before like when I walked through park, especially in my high school time, I was the one with headphone listening to all like whatever the Japanese and English music. I was like, oh, there's no way I can understand what they're why do you act like that? I don't care. It's not my lifestyle. We're a different
And you
generation.
might have thought it was weird or that it was odd.
Yeah, but I will respect them. I know
Yes.
they're to me at the time my mindset is, oh, they're just they just retired. They have a bunch of time, so they just want to party, like to just do some weird stuff. I it's just make no sense to me. But our social norms or like from the ethical part require me to respect them. So I feel like okay, I make no
They
comments.
certainly do want to party. That's for sure.
Yes, but then later when I go on on this hunt of all these, so yes, I actually change a lot. So I feel like oh, and also especially when I start understanding my mom more, I understand oh, actually every attitude, every behavior, there must be a reason behind that. So it's then you start to understand more, and the more you understand them, I would say the ability of empathy. You actually have a stronger like ability of empathy, and actually it will lead you to like more like funny story, and also like give you like a deeper insight about this whole situation, which I feel like it's actually how you can again from this open mindset. So if you just cut off all the connection with all this auditing,
Right.
you say yes, I want to stay out with all the odd stuff, stay out with these troubles. Great, you can just do it on your own. But maybe maybe you will also lose the chance of finding another more creative or special moment. I would say.
Yeah. No, I don't really have too much more to add. I think you hitting on empathy is good because, again, I think when we started discussing and before we got deeper into it, it's like just go look at weird stuff because it's fun to look at
Yeah.
weird stuff, and that's not what it's about. It is a window into a deeper part of the culture, right? There's
Yeah.
surface level culture, the food, the language, the art, the music, and then there's the deep level, the norms,
Yeah.
the belief, the values. And I think that's the kind of stuff that, yes, if you see a group of aunties dancing, it looks like surface level, but if they're doing it in a particular way or they have a particular dress or the way they interact with each other, there is a deeper level that you can find if you would like to inquire and learn the background and again at the end maybe develop that level of empathy.
And also like this oddity itself somehow like can turn into a I was a business opportunities. I will give you a great example. Do you remember all these uncle and aunties are so obsessed with I would say like East Europe culture,
Yeah.
and which before I never all
Well,
young generation would never say
Soviet
something.
culture.
Soviet culture,
Soviet culture.
especially also including yeah.
Soviet
So
culture.
I was like, and also you see all the vast things they love the leather hat and stuff, which make no sense to us at all. We feel like it just
Well, think about how they grew up,
exactly.
the historical context.
Yes.
Yeah.
And never like I would never saw like this could be some sort of a real like business opportunity until when my mom go on the trip, and that's the feedback from her. So she went on a trip to the East Europe. To be specifically, it's more about Croatia and other. So there is some place and setting, and she said, oh, they're definitely settings for all this the Chinese, especially for that old generation. I said, how do you know? She said, well, so all through the trip about the East Europe, I mean, they're hardly any sign in Chinese or like specifically like put certain kind of thing from a clip from film. But there is like I would say like a tourist spot which is a bridge, but this bridge is super important for all the Chinese old generations, especially for Shanghainese. I would say they're just so obsessed with this. So I asked, so mom, so when they went there, so a lot of we were seeing a lot of old people from China. They just take pictures and they will buy the clothes like the souvenirs from the other stores, and the local people they didn't all know they are obsessed with this culture. They just put on there a lot of the screen and shows the it's always the same clip like if you are interested you can just Google this film. It's called The Bridge, I guess. I think it's a Serbian movie back in old time. Yeah. Anyway, so they are so. What I asked them, are you just being a so back to your old generation, like, so you were inspired by the story itself or the other things? My mom, will be honest, she said, actually, it's more about the clothes. At the time, we don't have much option about clothes. But from the movie, like, we are very surprised that, oh, those guys have so delicate clothes and in such a good style. But still, they want to fight each other, like pull out the guns and to shoot each other. Mom said they all think if I mean from mom, she said if I were him, like the one of people there, I don't want to go in the war. I already have this pretty nice clothes. I just go back home. I'm like, oh, great. So yeah, so and then she realized this all things happen also just, and out of curiosity, she just asked them, why this setting become so famous and they say like, yes, like, before there's some Chinese people come here and they immediately just notice about this bridge. And the local people will think, oh, it is like a historic site, but everywhere has historic site. But then somehow these Chinese people say that this will be a great spot, especially for business. You don't know like how obsessed those old people are. They are probably the most, I would say, the people who have this abundant of money and wealth to spend on their own. So they're, I mean, because they are pretty, how did you say that? 怀旧, nostalgic about this kind of stuff. They will spend this money on that. So later, they just choose those film clip, put it on the screen, and there are a lot of shops open because of this setting. So here it is. Still, like, this East Europe trip still very, I would say, very popular among these old people, especially those old, retired, rich Shanghainese. I was shocked. This, because before, like, so now, and when I heard all this story, all of a sudden that all the oddity and all the things I sensed before, suddenly now it all makes sense. It is, you have the reason, and all the reason actually so behind all the reason there must be a need. So if some people can really trace down all the oddity, probably you will figure out some really nice business idea as something I.
But that's not what we're not. This episode is not about exploiting people's needs to make money.
Yes, correct. I just say like.
Just to be super clear.
Yes. So I would just want to show like how like the Aldi can, there's something.
Gives you a deeper insight as to why things are the way they are, and then you start to learn. Oh, they're super interested in that, and it's obviously that specific relationship with them growing up and that during that time. And yes, so exactly, it's these things that at first you think it's weird, but there must be a reason as to why it is that way. Yeah. Well, on that note, I think our dumplings have arrived and are going to get cold by the minute that we don't eat them. So
yeah, I guess we'll start wrapping up. So
let's wrap it up and eat some dumplings.
Yeah.
All right. We will see you all next time from the park in Shanghai. And if you want to see us sooner, you can hop in the Chameleon Club. Link in the description. It is a free community, emphasis free, on school.com. And so if you want to pop in there, we are in there. There's a group of people waiting for you that live all around the world in different cultures and are trying to thrive in that new life that they find themselves in. So if you want to be a part of that, you can click the link in the description, pop in your info, and we will see you in there. But until then, let's eat our dumplings.
Yeah, until next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.